Here.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. 1.01. For our friends and our community members at home, for anyone who has comments or concerns for the board, you can reach us at clerk@fulton.cnyric.org. Action 1.02 to approve the agenda.
Move it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. In the event of emergency this evening and we do need to evacuate the building, we can go out to the exit 6 to the right here. If we need to go out the main library doors, you can go to the right or the left. Just when you're exiting the building, please move as far away as possible. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 1.05 public forum. This evening we have a couple of speakers from our community. Frank Cecilia, would you like to join us? Just please remember that we have 3 minutes for your comments and concerns. We haven't started yet.
Okay. You know, James punching numbers in. Okay. It's not going to be short and sweet. It's going to be short and solid. Not a banner year for the admin or the school board. It seems every time you turn on the news, we're in it. There are too many things to mention in my time allotted. I have a proverb, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. In the Old West, proverbs, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, means to turn a blind eye to something that is legally or morally wrong. Accountability is all I've ever come here and asked for. And I've asked to make sure that that's all I asked for. The first time I came here was to bring to the attention of the board and that they were paying pump prices for gas. At that time, I was told I was wrong. To find out at the next meeting I was right. Second was moving the gassing of school district vehicles to a filling station outside the city. Cost the district close to $40,000. At that time, I was told by a member of the board that amount of money is less than 1% of our total budget. That's not a good answer. Third, the moving of the central registration office and cost back to 4th Street School. No answer on that one. My points were that nobody was watching the budget lines. Now, I have heard that there is an SRO officer who was found to have been milking the system for an undetermined amount of money by claiming that to be at schools, protecting our schools, and collecting pay for not being there. That's very sad and very disturbing. This was and has been reported. This has not been reported anywhere. No charges were brought forward. This is a clear case of the aforementioned proverb. This is not a case against the SRO. It is a case of the system not being in place to prevent the actions. This is the case of the school board not being informed. Not the board, but the administration that sets up all the standards and everything. I was brought on the carpet for mentioning the last one. I'm not going to mention it, but justice is blind. That more or less says that you just have to make sure that everything is right before you do anything. Now, we've got a motto, you see something, say something, feel safe in the schools. Well, what's happened in the past month is not very good for our school district. It's sad. The one incident, that person brought me up on charges of parking too close to where they wanted to be able to put that special needs student on their bus. And I was brought on the carpet for it.
3 minutes.
Okay, I've got, my time is up. The last one is what happened this past week. Okay?
Thank you, Frank.
And
Thank you, Frank.
I know you can have Mark remove me, but the point is is that that incident that happened at the high school should never happen.
Right, thank
Okay,
you.
we know
3
it.
minutes have been up, thank you.
And that's, that's what I have to say. You have to have everything in place to prevent it from happening in the future. I will not be sticking around. I've got another meeting to go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Frank. Karen Fiorini. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Hello.
Yep.
Hi, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Erin Fiorini, and I'm here to report on my role as the district family facilitator, position I've been in for a year and a half and was supposed to occupy. I also am here before you as a member of the Fulton community. I graduated from Fulton and returned home in 2022 after having the privilege to work in Ecuador, Mexico, Guatemala, for a combined 10 years. The bilingual family facilitator role description reads that the candidate would support accessible communication for parents whose primary language is Spanish, so they can be fully informed about and active in their children's education. Can you hear me?
You can.
In addition, the candidate would determine ongoing needs of students and families. I hope I've accomplished some of these goals for the nearly 55 district families who speak primarily Spanish and some who additionally speak an indigenous language. As an example of my work, when I first began, an elementary principal and teachers have long tried to get in touch with a dad whose son displayed significant behavioral issues and repeatedly interrupted classroom learning. Through a series of interactions with Dad, I managed to coordinate a meeting with him, the staff, and interpreted during the said meeting. By the end of the meeting, Dad agreed to mental health counseling for his son. The student has turned around markedly, and a teacher recently recognized him with a shout out for his exemplary behavior, and this student had his classmates and teachers now focused on their learning. With the support of district staff and employees, I've arranged dozens of student vaccine appointments, reducing absences. I work closely with the high school staff to ensure 2 A&L students graduate in June. And this spring, I connected a father with a job within the Fulton Parks and Recreation Department. The leadership there recently told me that he's doing amazing, and we absolutely love having him there. In addition, I interpret during home visits and conferences and in other scenarios. More than interpreting, I'm an active participant advocating for students and parents within schools and communities, in the community. A part of my job is needs analysis. With that, I've enrolled 20 kids with local pediatricians and 5 parents with primary care providers, one of whom is over here this evening. I enrolled 3 students in On Point for college, registered 4 families with medical insurance, and enrolled dozens of children in the district summer learning programs, among other undertakings. These combined efforts have given families a sense of belonging, community well-being, and agency. My role was eliminated due to budget cuts last June, and my last day is June 20th. I want to underscore, I do realize I'm going over, I very much pardon, and I will leave the rest of it after this part. I want to underscore that the district has made significant advances in increasing communication of families that are learning English by creating this role in the first place, translating school communications to Spanish, in contracting a professional language line, and hiring a Spanish-speaking tutor, among other efforts. I do have some recommendations, and I can leave those with the board.
Yes, please do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you. Action 1.06, to approve the May 22nd regular meeting minutes.
Move it.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Oh, did you abstain? I'm sorry, Mrs. Jensen. Passes 501. All right, under our president's report tonight, just take a look at some of those meetings. We have graduation coming up on Friday down at the complex at 6:30. We have our next audit meeting coming up on the 18th. Regular board meeting on the 25th. Mrs. Perry did share with you back on the 10th our evaluations for the board and the superintendent. If you could please check your emails if you have not and get those back to her by Monday the 17th. She'll be sharing the results with us on the 18th, and we will be discussing these on the 25th in our executive session. So please make sure that you get that to Mrs. Perry by the 17th. This evening, we are going to approve the Gaylord Chauncey scholarships. If I can have somebody move this resolution.
Move it.
Second.
Okay. Whereas the Board of Education of the Fulton City School Districts has accepted the responsibility for the management of the George Gaylord Chauncey Scholarship Fund at a meeting of the Board of Education on August 2nd, 1965. And whereas the Board of Education of the Fulton City School District shall award scholarships from this fund on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education President, and the high school principal. Therefore be it resolved that the following scholarships for the school year 2023-2024 are awarded, it being understood that the payment shall be made to the proper authorities of persons when details of payment shall be arranged. Our scholarship recipients this evening or this year will be Laura Bartlett. She will be attending SUNY Brockport, and Madison Brockway, who will be attending St. John Fisher. Can I have somebody, or all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? This passes 6-0. Congratulations to Miss Bartlett and Miss Brockway. One other thing I just want to add here, I did send out a quick text to you guys about a retreat coming up. I don't know if you saw the text, but if you can look at your calendars so we can get that on for our NYSBA retreats, dates that you are definitely not available in July or August so that we can go ahead and plan something soon. So I appreciate you all looking into that.
If you want us to do, I was talking to Jean about doing a doodle poll that will allow you to collect dates that would work as opposed to trying to because you get a mass of dates, and that would allow board members, and you can see where there's consistency where all 7
Okay.
are eligible.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Perry, for setting that up for us. I appreciate you.
Quick question for you, Brenda.
Yes.
Should we send that out to our new board member as well?
Yes, I am going to be reaching out with Ms. Brawl. She knows that that is on the docket for this summer, so I've already spoken with her.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, though. I appreciate that. And with that, if nobody has any questions, I am going to move the meeting over to Superintendent Ryan Polvino for our superintendent's report.
Thank you. Just want to remind us all, we're focused on the end of the year. There's a lot of different activities and things going on here in the district over the next couple of weeks. A lot of accomplishments, a lot of growth, a lot of celebrations going on. If you take a look at your weekly, you'll see all of the different things going on. Please, if you'd like to attend, just let us know, and you're welcome to attend all of those events. Graduation is Friday night. We're already planning a lot of things for next year. And then obviously I mentioned the celebrations, the end of the year events and such. I think, we're also focusing on ending the year on a high note for our students. There's a lot going on and been going on, and obviously we're addressing each one of those issues, and we will continue to do so and keep the board apprised. The first item this evening is the capital project. Mr. Hebert and Mr. James, you're going to go first this evening?
I believe so.
If you could speak on our capital project, please.
Good evening. You may remember, I think the last time I was here for the board was back in February, and we did kind of a detailed review of the scope for phases 1 and 2. So I've got this evening to really share some of the graphics or renderings related to those phases, and then we'll touch on the scope a little bit. I'm also here, the team from the Chase is with us. They have their own presentation that gets a little bit more of the detail of what's been happening recently and what's left on that agenda for the summer. So I'll share an image with you of the capital outlay project. I have a gymnasium rendering to show, and then a few renderings of phase 2 that I think you'll like, and then we'll touch on the scope for phase 3 at the very end. Next image, please. So this is the capital outlay project. This work is ongoing right now. It's the chimney at the education center. And the 3 photos, the 2 on the side and the upper photo, are all progress images. The photo at the very bottom in the middle is actually an original photo that we took of the degraded base of the chimney. Work's going very well. This is an outlay, so it has to be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks. The district, I think, made a wise choice in selecting this scope for the outlay because the chimney was in real dire condition and the stone bands at the top were very loose. So we chose to pursue this through cooperative purchasing, and that allowed us to work with Ari Kelly, who's one of the premier masonry restoration contractors in the region, and they're doing a fantastic job. So we're excited about that. They have brought a few things to our attention. One of them is the inside of the chimney, the brick mortar is degraded. So that will be something on our radar as we move forward in the future. The next image is one of, I don't know, maybe a dozen. We worked with the administration and Mr. Elves and Mr. Murray on potential paint schemes for the gymnasium. This is phase 1A that you'll see at the very top. And we investigated different colors for the walls, for the bleachers, for different graphics. And meeting with the building administrators, they were concerned about how bright or how white the interior might be. So right now, we're proposing paint scheme on the walls that are 2 gray tones with a green band in the middle. The ceiling would be a bright white, which is a little misleading in the rendering, which is a little gray, but that would be very bright. And you'll remember that it's new bleachers, new backboards, new scoreboards, the floor will be refinished. It's new doors. We really will make a significant change in the gymnasium. So we wanted to put that in front of you. The final paint scheme doesn't really have to be complete or finalized until we're about to proceed, but I think this is the generally accepted approach. And you'll see that we have the new red dragon at the far end with its claws over the pads, which I think is kind of an exciting feature.
Are we doing, what are we doing for air circulation in the sound system?
Great question. 2 different projects. The sound system is being upgraded in this project, 1A.
Okay.
The mechanical system is actually being upgraded in a current project, which Matt will share with you in a moment. So that will already be in place when this work occurs.
Okay. And the dividing doors?
That is existing to remain.
That's going to remain?
That remains.
Are they fully functional?
It is functional, but it was beyond our budget to really tackle that. It was very expensive. So that is something that if needed be, the district could come back and we could do at a future date.
Okay.
Questions? The next slide has to do with phase 2. So phase 2 is the project that is at SED for review right now. The images on the left are the existing security entrance at the main entrance of the greeter station. We are planning to move the interior set of vestibule doors further into the school to make it an enlarged vestibule, which will allow us to add a security window in the vestibule. And that's what you see in the lower right-hand corner. So your greeter can now have visitors within a series of locked doors so they can stay for business, share their credentials, and then they can be bused from the second set. We are maintaining the second window on the inside of the high school, and you'll see that in the upper right image. So, you know, someone who needs to talk to the greeter from within the building doesn't have to go back to the vestibule. One item that came from the request from the board, and this goes back a few years, was to do more with school colors in that main hallway. It's really been a mix of additions and finishes. So we thought this was a nice opportunity to use a little red in that greeter station. We're also expanding the walk-off mat within the vestibule to scrub feet now that it's a little bit deeper and keep the hallways as good as we can. And obviously, feel free to stop me if you have other questions. This is also phase 2 and happens to be the toilet room renovations at the high school. Again, the photos on the left are existing conditions, original quarry tile floors and structural glazed tile on the walls. This is a full renovation, gut and renovation, so it's all new finishes, all new plumbing fixtures, and all new piping. This is true of both floors, so 4 toilet rooms in total. Again, we've met with the administration and the principal about how best to design this, and one of the nice features about the renovation is that we are using full partitions in between the stalls and higher doors and doors that go closer to the floor to improve privacy. We know that's an issue in all schools, but so we've managed to do that here. We've again incorporated some school colors, but also used quite a bit of white to make it look very fresh and clean. The back of the room, obviously, we have a couple of handicapped toilet rooms, toilet stalls. But one of the nice features about the layout in the high school is we also have an individual handicapped room off of the corridor. And it's right next to the double doors that you'll see in the door, to give that student who may still not be comfortable going into either of those toilet rooms a third opportunity. And that will happen on both floors.
So in the room with that, you have the handicap, not the separate one. Is there enough room for somebody with a chair to get in there? Like, is it handicap accessible, or are they just this is the only one the individual one is the only one that would be for the actual chairs?
Yeah, you'll have an option in the men's room and the women's room that's truly handicapped.
Truly, okay.
And then the one in the hallway is also truly.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And is it possible to change, on the doors in the high school, I notice in the bathrooms, it's boys and girls. Can't we put men and women, because that's what they're becoming?
Absolutely, we can do that.
Thank you.
Similar conversation, this is the Fairgrave plan. And we met with, this is Pietra Fola, to talk about her needs. Again, the photos on the left, existing, very dated, quarry tile and structural glaze tile, the traditional metal stalls. At the Fairgrave solution, again, these are 4 toilet rooms, or 2 on each floor. We are using the traditional toilet stall, but again, the doors are closer to the floor, within 6 inches, and they're taller. And they do not have, they have 0 sight lines on the edges. You know, a lot of the younger students are very concerned about privacy, and anywhere we can resolve that issue with, the toilet stalls, we have to do that. The other change that we made was that we moved the sinks, which you see on the right-hand side, so they're visible from the door, from the corridor. That door will be held open, so it allows your staff a little more supervision at the sinks where a lot of the issues actually occur. Any questions about that?
We have handicap accessible bathrooms at the elementary level as well.
Same, there's one in each men's and women's room.
Thank you.
I chose to include this summary again. This is the phase 2 scope. As I mentioned, this is the job that's currently at FCSD being reviewed. This is the one we reviewed previously. And I just thought we'd share with you again to see if there are any questions about the scope for phase 2. And if there aren't, Mr. Palvino recommended that we include a slide for phase 3, and I know you've all had an opportunity to see this, but phase 3 we are currently working on, the design team and the Chase, and we have an October 15th SED submission goal. Phase 3 is includes work at the junior high school, and I'll quickly go through. It's quite a bit of asphalt, replacement at the loading dock, reconstructing the existing loading dock. There are 7 units on the roof heat recovery units that have failed and haven't worked in quite some time. Those will be replaced. elevator modernization, which we discussed this time. The junior high school also received a new security window. It will occur within the existing vestibule. There's a small opening there now that was original to the building. We'll take advantage of that and add a security reader station. There's a little bit of door replacement, and then the significant item, which I consider bolding, was exterior window replacement. I know this has been an issue for this building for years, and we've ordered some samples to share with the district, and we're arranging with a mason to investigate the conditions above the windows to make sure that we've addressed all flashing and moisture issues as part of the work. At the athletic complex, we have scoreboard replacement, currently playing 3 scoreboards, an extension of the fiber optic line, replacing the 4 dugouts that exist. Again, the item that I could have bolded was site drainage improvements. That's extensive work at the fields, baseball, softball, and soccer. As a matter of fact, the team with the Chase met with the Fulton staff a few weeks ago. We walked the property after some rain, and we heard their stories about what they're dealing with. We had our landscape architect with us, so we're developing a solution based on actual field conditions. So we know that's a critical item for the district. There's some bleacher structural improvements. We're replacing the concession building roof, and there's a sewage pump at the concession building that's also being updated. Lastly, at the education center, there's a little bit of scope. We just showed you the restoration of the masonry at the chimney. There is some money in the ed center to follow that masonry improvements around the perimeter. There's some concrete sills and some brick that needs to be repointed. It's not a full restoration, but it's really to kind of tidy up some things that should be addressed before they become bigger issues. A little bit more elevator work in the education center, and then a steam condensate tank, which might be the oldest condensate tank I've ever seen. That is being replaced as part of phase 3.
And is there a timeline for, I know we're still in phase 2, but when phase 3 might start?
Yeah, in terms of construction, let me speak to SCD for a moment, and maybe Matt can touch on this too.
Okay.
When we send in phase 3 to SCD in October, currently SCD's projections are 28 to 30 weeks of lead time. So, and that's not guaranteed either. We're experiencing this throughout the state. So once we have that approval, 30 weeks later, or 7 months later, we'll go out to bid, and then we'll work closely with the Chase to see when construction makes sense.
Okay.
When we are doing the concession stand roof and the sewage problem in that area, has there been any talk about, since it's in pretty rough condition, maybe while we're in there, expanding that area a little bit more? I know that there was some concern, and I wasn't sure if
Expanding the building footprint?
Correct.
No, there hasn't been. And truthfully, that's the kind of thing that would have had to been brought up to the public as part of your referendum if you were going to have an addition of any kind.
So it's the roof and the sewage pipe. Is that going to affect what the bathrooms look like inside of that area?
No.
So those will stay the same, but the smell will go away and the leaking drainage problem? Is that what they're fixing?
The leaking from the roof will. Yeah, we're actually not doing any plumbing work in the toilet rooms. The sewage is a pump that's out on the site. That was actually not the right type of pump. We've been very fortunate that it hasn't failed to date. So that's the priority.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to make a comment about the drainage on our fields. I just want to express that our baseball team only played 2, possibly 3 games at home this year total. Even our senior night, they weren't able to have it here on the field, and it's just it's a shame, really, for our students who missed that. I really just wanted to say I can't stress enough the significance of this specific project. Now, it's important to our students and our families and the teams, I'm just concerned because I've been through capital improvement before, and I know there's times where we go over budget and have to make cuts. But I'm very extremely passionate that this project gets completed. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the most concerning that we have up there in phase 3, so I just want to make sure.
Understand, and I believe Mr. Palomino shared that you weren't able to play a single baseball game.
I think it was 2 to 3 games, as Ms. Hutchinson has indicated, but yeah, and it's gotten progressively worse over the years.
It's very dangerous. There's like potholes. I'm surprised somebody hasn't gotten injured, so I'm glad that we're making it a priority. They're not able to practice on there, and before somebody gets hurt, I second that for sure.
So to say to Ms. Hutchinson and to Ms. Mainville, it's one of the priorities at the end as we get down. We got to maintain and try to stay the focus there.
I understand completely. I just wanted to make sure I brought it up because I do know how the budget process works, and sometimes we have to make cuts, but it's very important.
Next steps, I'll just touch on this quickly, and I'm sure Matt will as well. Phase 1A, 1B, and 2 are all at SED. We're within maybe 4 weeks of hearing from SED on 1A and 1B. That does not put us in a great position moving forward for construction, but we're doing what we can in the interim, which I'm sure we'll touch on. And phase 2 was logged in on April 29th. So we'll continue to watch the SED clock tick and see when that's coming back. And again, we'll work closely with Larry and Matt. Any questions or anything I went by too quickly?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Matthew Herbert. I'm the project manager for Chase on the 2019 capital project and the ARP funds project with Mike touched on for the gym and helping with the 2023 project, getting things off the ground. This slideshow mainly focuses on projects that we have construction happening for right now. Phase 2C is the final phase of the 2019 capital project, and the majority of the work will be taking place this summer. That needs to be finished up and into the fall. The ARP funds project is getting off the ground right now. Most of the work will take place this summer and some into the fall. So we're just going to briefly go down through each building with some pictures and then some work to be completed. We'll start at GRB. The project has had a lot of unit ventilator replacements, and we're going to continue that this summer. There's 15 remaining to do. We're replacing 5 rooftop condensing units, and we've replaced the water heater already, and we replaced most of the PA system. Some minor parts of that need to be replaced this summer, and some of it needs to be expanded. Any questions about GRP?
Is the PA system going to be able to be heard in the gymnasium?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yes, that is one of the parts that needs to be installed right now. The actual components that go in there were no longer legal. So,
And in the cafeteria as well. I know those are 2 pretty big spaces where we hold a lot of kids that it would be important to hear an announcement in case of like emergency. So cafeteria and gym, check? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep, so upon installations, what they've been doing is then having announcements made and doing checks during different parts of the day. So during loud times, when there's kids, all those kinds of things. And also expanding down in the area of the small gym as well as the large gym, because there was some lack of PA systems as far as the number down there as well, so that's been adjusted as well.
Thank you.
Over at Fairgrave, last summer we completed some abatement. We've been replacing electrical panels, which we'll complete this year. The switch gear is going to be replaced, and then the boiler condensate receiver and pump will be replaced. All of that will be taking place this summer, and we'll be working on the domestic water supply, the mains in the crawl space.
And it's the original water source, 1949 pipes. So, with the adjustments now.
Over at Granby, this is where the majority of our work is currently taking place. We're replacing the pool HVAC system. The dehumidification units have been removed, the new ones are being installed, ductwork is being installed, and the ceiling work is ongoing. Once that's completed, we'll work on, there's a set of cross-corridor doors that is being moved for security, and then the BMS system is being upgraded. Actually, the BMS system is being upgraded at all of the buildings where we have new mechanics.
What's a BMS system?
The building management system. Over at Lanigan, we replaced, we added a corridor door for security reasons, and we're working in the boiler room. We've done some abatement. We'll be replacing a boiler as well as a condensate pump. There's a air handling unit that's going to be replaced and abated, and again, all of that is expected to take place over the summer. Finally, the ARP project, which is at GRB, will have HVAC upgrades for the gym. Both RTUs, rooftop units, will be replaced. So associated ductwork, we will paint the ceiling. And then there's a computer room AC that is being replaced. A few different unit ventilators are being replaced in select areas. And the kiln vent is being replaced. This project hasn't actually started construction yet. It was bid last year, and we are getting off the ground with submittals and coordinating and getting everything we need to do the work this summer. Any questions for any of the buildings or any of the projects that currently have construction?
What are the 3 select rooms that were, what are those rooms actually, what rooms were selected?
There's the server rooms. One of them is a server room. One of them is the first floor server room, and
I think they may all be related to the servers. We work closely with Corey,
yes.
and he picked the alternates. So it was based on which rooms had servers and what he wanted for.
The IT rooms typically have to put out a lot of heat with all of the, and so if they're not properly ventilated, we have a lot of issues with your IT dropouts.
Okay.
So our district NOC, actually for the entire district, runs out of the high school. So those are the spaces that we're talking about. And we've had some issues in the past where the air conditioning wasn't able to keep up with the heat. And so obviously then challenges that equipment in there as it gets warm. So this addresses hopefully a long-term issue as well and keeps allows our equipment to last longer.
3 rooms in the high school?
There's the major one upstairs and then 2 others.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Any other questions with regards to construction or design for King Gaylord case? Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Our budget update. Kate? Yeah, if you want to share, I think Jerry's popped off now and you can share. Ms. Hooper? Filling in for Dr. Lisi this evening. Thank you.
Just a couple of slides for you. These are the April financials. Typically, we see these at the second meeting in May, but May was taken up with the budget and the ratification of the budget and the vote. So we saved them for this meeting, so you can have a look at the end of April, and then at the meeting in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to show you the numbers as of the end of May. So, as usual, it compares this year to last fiscal year, where we are in terms of revenue, what we budgeted, what we realized so far, as well as expenditures. And you can see with the April numbers, things were at about the same place as they were at the end of April of last year. Then also the cash flow. You can see in April there was a little bit of a dip in the cash flow, but we requested and received about $2.8 million in grant money. That'll be reflected the next time we do the cash flow analysis for you, as well as perhaps some aid payments that will be coming in before we prepare those numbers for you as well. And as I said, we'll have the May numbers for you in just a couple of weeks. But, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hooper. And then finally, with the annual reorganization meeting, the law indicates that the first week in June, or July rather, is when that meeting needs to take place. We can have a resolution at the next meeting indicating we could do it within the first 15 days of July. So there are two options up for discussion this evening. We could do July 2nd, which is Tuesday, July 2nd, or July 9th. We would need to do a resolution at our next meeting to be able to do that. The law indicates that as long as we have a resolution on the books that we can move that to that meeting. Is there a preference as to, we could do the full meeting either on the 2nd or the 9th, it's really in the regular business, or we could do two separate meetings, do the there's lots of choices. Reorg on the 2nd, which would be our normal, it's normally about a half-hour meeting max. And then on the 9th, have our typical regular scheduled board meeting. Or we could do them both on the 9th, which we've done in the past, back to back. Or the board could choose to do the first meeting on the 2nd, but that's a little bit early after our last meeting in June. So as far as a full business meeting. So, but again, any of those discussions are up. Our last year we did on the same day on the 9th. We did together.
I'm out of town on the 9th, but I'm here on the 2nd.
Okay, anybody else? 2nd or 9th better?
I like the 9th.
The 9th?
Doesn't matter to me. Mr. Connors?
9th made sense to me.
All right, so if we did the 9th, are we doing everything, or would we be able to do the reorg meeting on the 2nd so that Mrs. Mainville can attend?
You could do either one. You have a choice. The reorg by law, by statute, would be the first week in July by statute without resolution. That could do that. That would allow that discussion and reorganization. Or both can be done on the 9th. It's really board preference.
Yep. I mean, I would like to be able to do both meetings at the same time, but
You
it'd be
should
nice to be able to have
contact
everybody
Lori
attend.
Crawl, see
to the
which,
reorg.
you
Sorry?
should contact Lori Crawl too and see what.
I made a circle on my paper that said with Lori Prawl in the middle of it, just to.
So what I'm going to do is ask you guys to let me know for sure by the end of tomorrow. We can reach out to Ms. Pearl, and we will have, if we are doing it all on the 9th, we have to make sure we have that resolution.
And I can do either. I don't know about anybody else, but the 9th for me. It's just the 9th for me.
Alrighty.
And you're also allowed, just for flexibility purposes, if you chose as a board to do your reorg at the 2nd, if you wanted to hold that meeting at a different time of the day, if that was convenient as a board, just if it was a different time that was the issue, you can move that around because it's a special board meeting for the reorg.
And we would have to move, if we did it on the 9th, it would have to be moved up. We would have to do it around 5:30 or 6.
You could start your meeting at 6, 5:30, we have board choice about when you schedule a special meeting. And we just have to make the announcement 5 days in advance.
Yep. Okay. All right, we will reach out to Mrs. Crow, and then we will a date by the end of tomorrow.
Yep, and we can send that out.
Okay.
So there's been a lot going on. As I said, we will make sure that we keep you apprised of what's going on. We can talk about any particulars or questions you may have in the executive session this evening. And with that, that's the conclusion of the superintendent's report this evening.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Paulino. Moving on to action 4.01, financials. Can I have somebody move that, please?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.02, approve disposal of surplus property.
Move it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.03, approve the Oswego County BOCES City Agreement of Continuing Education.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 4.04, approve no award of bid the B240015 kitchen equipment and installation.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Moving on to new business, action 5.01, approve committee on special education.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 5.02, approve the disposal of the 2023 ballots.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 5.03, approved combined boys hockey team.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
I abstain.
Okay, passes 501. There's a few policies that are on the docket for first reading. So if you can look those over, if you have any questions, make sure that you reach out. We will be approving or not at the next meeting. Moving on to action 7.01. Somebody approve that?
Move it.
I'll move it, thank you.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.02.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.03.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.04.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining? Passes 510. Action 7.05.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.06.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.07.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.08.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.09.
Move it?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.10.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.11.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.12.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Action 7.13.
Move it.
Second?
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Okay, we're going to move on to our second board forum. No executive session this evening?
I think we probably should, just in case people, we have some staffing questions that over the last week or so and some other things.
Okay, so we
Probably
are-
should address and provide update.
Okay, but I will go through and do our board forum. Mrs. Mango.
a lot going on. End of the year, the capital project. I'm excited to see where that goes and what we get accomplished. Lots of tests, lots of finals, and I hope that we can get through the remainder of the school year on a positive note. I'll leave it there.
There you go. Mr. Crandall.
I just want to thank everyone for their presentations. Can't wait for Friday night. And that's it.
Okay. Mrs. Hutchinson?
I just wanted to thank our public for coming out and speaking tonight. I want to especially thank Mrs. Fiorini for all of her hard work. I'm looking forward to the additional information she's going to provide to the board. That was no easy feat. Her job and well done on her half. I too am eagerly looking forward to Friday night, especially to watch my stepson cross that stage and all the hard work he's done, Nate. And I concur with Mrs. Mainville. Let's just have a nice, peaceful rest of the year.
Mr. Connors?
I'd like to thank for the presentations tonight, especially the focus on accessibility. That's something really important to me, so I'm glad we're continuing to address it and make sure it's something that stays at the top, not something that's thought of as an afterthought. Really though, I just want to give a shout out to the students. That's why we're here as board members, for the students, and to hear about all the amazing things, whether it's academics, athletics, doing things in the community for service. It's just great to hear that people are going out and doing things and taking their education and not only just using it, but actually making something of it. And I think that says a lot of, our teachers, our people that are in our district working hard to make that possible, because it doesn't happen in a vacuum. So every time I hear a story, I like to think that we're doing something right, because there are people coming out of here doing great things. And I'd say congratulations to all the students, because everyone crossing that stage has accomplished something great in their life.
Thank you for that, Mr. Connors. Mr. DeJorm?
I want to congratulate Laura Bartlett and Madison Brockway on their scholarships. Thank King and Lynn Chase for their presentations.
Yes. I had the opportunity to hop into the sports banquet before coming here, and Harper was going to come back with me, but I told her to stay and enjoy dinner. It was so great to see the energy over there. The kids were excited. I got to watch them come in, listen to Mr. L's speech. I'm sorry that I did not get to stay for Mr. Fitzpatrick's presentation, but I got to bring, if anyone wants to look, I got to bring back the program so you can look in there and see our seniors that were being recognized this evening. The athletic boosters did a wonderful job this evening. Another shout out to our athletic boosters. The Booster Burn was this past weekend. It was a wonderful event. They reached, I believe, Mrs. Nicholson said, near 170 runners this year. We are more than doubling every year that it's been out there so far. It will be the same weekend in June next year, so mark that on your calendars. It was a wonderful event. A lot of sports teams came out. It was really nice to run alongside our athletes. They definitely pushed me to push myself a little bit harder. I'm finding that it's hard to keep up with the youngins these days, but it was a great event. Mrs. Nicholson and the athletic boosters just did a fantastic job. So I just wanted to make sure that I shouted that out too. Was able to watch some of the concerts on live stream. They were good. Did you get an opportunity to pop into any of the concerts?
I went to all the conferences, except the 7th grade. I didn't make the 7th grade on Thursday night, but all the rest I went to and they were outstanding.
They did a wonderful job. And I also was able to pop into the Corporal Carlton Barrett Volney D-Day presentation. Mr. Cahill did a wonderful job. There were some of our vets that were being honored, that Mr. Cahill honored in our area. Mr. Baker is 100 years old and was in World War II with Mr. Corporal Barrett. who also grew up in Fulton and knew Corporal Barrett as a child. He's 100 years old and he's still driving, and the stories that man was telling, it was phenomenal to be able to share the room with him that night. So I was very glad. My husband was glad that I kind of told him about it. And this is something that it seems to be that it will be getting bigger and more just bigger and better every year. And I can't thank Mr. Capel enough for bringing this to the board. Was it a year or two?
2 years ago.
2 years ago he showed up, and the essays that our fifth graders wrote, phenomenal. I mean, they were wonderful. One of our young ladies believes there should be a statue down out back behind the War Memorial to honor Corporal Barrett. So I think she may take it to the mayor. The mayor was wondering when she'd be showing up to petition him. So it was just a wonderful event. And if you get an opportunity to come next year, I recommend it. The Corporal Barrett's family from across the country came. His 2 nieces and nephew were there, so it was very nice to
Texas and Nevada.
So it was a wonderful event. And I am looking forward to graduation as well, to all the accomplishments that all of our students have done over the year. They deserve much rest. Summer is right around the corner. There is only a couple more days left until Regents, so I hope that all of our students rest and just enjoy their summer afterwards, because they have worked hard. So with that.
One more thing too.
Yes.
Shout out to the girls lacrosse team
I
for
wrote that.
making
That's what I
it
was
to the state semifinals. It was a great season for them. The girls worked hard, the coaches, the families. It was it was a good ride. So congratulations. They worked really hard.
They were
Everybody
tremendous.
that was a part of it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we will move into executive session, and then we will be back. For those of you who joined us this evening, thank you so much. Executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 6-0-0. Thank you, Mr. Connors. We're going to adjourn the meeting. Action 9.01. Somebody move it.
Move it. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 600. Thank you for joining us this evening. Everybody have a great night.